Sunday on Fox, Carson Wentz as the Eagles fighting for the NFC East. Now they'll face Josh Allen and the Bills, or Christian McCaffrey leads the Panthers in a showdown against Jimmy G and the 49ers. It all kicks off Sunday on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
Welcome you to the State Farm Fox College Football Halftime Show. Come your way live from inside the Horseshoe. Buckeyes on top, 10-0. Justin Fields with his 23rd touchdown pass of the season, finding Chris Olave with his team best 7th receiving touchdown. That one from 27 yards out. An offense that was kind of stuck in neutral for much of the first half. A really exciting close to that second quarter. Buckeyes on top, 10-0. Rob Brady, Matt Urban Meyer back here with you. We're going to kick off our State Farm halftime highlights talking about the defense. Chase Young is a big focal point of our pregame show, Matt. He is continuing to be a big focal point.
He was the best player in the first half on the field, and you just see the relentless pass rush. Multiple guys trying to get after him, and then here, Coach, everything you talked about in the pregame, the moves, the swipe, the scissors, the bull rush, he did all of that. And two things, he has an elite pass rush. We know that. 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 4 total tackles. But then, Brady, you also mentioned his just overall presence as a quarterback. Jack Cohn felt him the whole entire first half. He was a huge impact in that game.
Hey, we felt him.
Yeah. You're watching, you're like, geez, put a couple bodies on the guy.
Coach, you gave me a phone call early in the first quarter saying, Justin Fields, man, they're going to have to be running him more than maybe we've seen all season long.
This is the first time all year they have to. And the plays you're going to watch, these are double option plays. There's 3 plays in a row you're going to watch on video. They're the same play. But the quarterback is going to read the defensive end. He pulls it here and gets a nice plus yardage play. The next 2 are big hits by J.K. Dobbins. That's a read play. The defensive end took the quarterback. The next play, again, a big hit by J.K. Dobbins. All this does is give you clean defenses. He's been saying that all year, and this allows Justin Fields to also throw the ball well like he did in the second quarter because you better defend that quarterback. This is the first time he's as good a quarterback as in America. Ohio State has not had to use those legs, but you can't sack him, and the threat is, that's what makes him and Jalen Hurts to me are 2 of, and Joe Burrow, those are the top quarterbacks in America.
This first half for me with Ohio State was about adjustments schematically. You heard Joel Klatt talk about it. Defensive coordinator Jim Leonard did a good job of mixing up the man and zone coverages, kind of keeping Ryan Day a little bit off balance. You saw them really start to settle in the second quarter, in particular in the passing game. And then the adjustments by the wide receivers. We saw the drops early on by Olave and some of the others, and then you found those guys start to kind of find their rhythm, catching the football in these tough conditions. And it was Fields being opportunistic, keeping the football on some of those passing plays, but delivering the strike at the end of the half. They kind of put, to me, not the nail in the coffin, but now distance themselves in what could be a really close game with the conditions the way they are right now.
This is the second game for Jonathan Taylor against Ohio State. He struggled in the first edition, struggling today as well, averaging 2.1 yards per carry. If that continues, that would be a career low for him.
Yeah, this is the challenge, and you knew coming into this, Wisconsin, this is the Wisconsin football. They want to be able to try and establish the run, and when you can establish the run, it puts a lot more pressure on Jack Cohn in the pass game, but you just got to credit the front 7. I already talked about Chase Young, but all of these guys, the linebackers, everybody is involved, and they're going to the ball and they're tackling him and tackling behind the line of scrimmage, and then they're putting that pressure on Jack Cohn. Wisconsin 2 of 8 on 3rd down, and Coach, I think you talked about it. You want to put Wisconsin in those 3rd and longs, force them to have to throw the football, and now being down 10-0, it's just 10-0, but this is going to force Wisconsin to have to start throwing the ball more in the second half.
We talked in pregame about the questions, how do you stop Jonathan Taylor? My answer is always, tell me who I have on defense. They're not, if you watch them, they're playing very basic defense. They don't have to be moving around like Illinois did. That's how you're stopping them. They have better players than Wisconsin. The defensive coaches are calling a very clean game and letting them play.
Well, to your point, on the outside, if and when Wisconsin does decide to throw the football, it's one-on-one coverage with Arnett and Okudah, and they're having a hard time finding separation for their quarterback, Jack Cohn. They're going to have to figure out other matchups to go to if they want to have success in the second half. The ultimate equalizer, though, in this one is going to be ball security and special teams. game, something we haven't talked about. That's the thing that I kind of was watching the first half thinking, what could mess up this game for Ohio State? How can Wisconsin get back into it? The ball handling by the punters, the holders punts, on field goals,
and
or even the returners,
Yeah.
especially when that ball hits the ground and then they elect to return the football. When you get it, it's slick and it's hard to hold on to that thing.
Just want to remind you, no Reggie Bush here for the halftime show. He's on his way to New Orleans, being inducted into the Saints Hall of Fame later tonight. But how many texts does Reggie send us through the course of this game, breaking things down? Like, Reggie, you don't have a say at halftime. You had your chance.
From the airport.
More college football coming your way later today here on Fox, 3:30 Eastern. Number 15, Texas, and Sam Ellinger on the road taking on TCU. We got some highlights coming your way next. Jalen Hurts with a pair of scores as the Sooners continue to find their offensive comfort zone in the Big 12. Plus, the Hawkeyes defense came to play today in Chicago. Nate Stanley and Iowa all over the guys in purple. We welcome you back to the State Farm halftime show, coming your way live from Columbus. Talked about Chase Young in the Big Noon Kickoff pregame show. 2 sacks through the first 2 quarters. Buckeyes en route to pitching just their second shutout of the campaign. 3 games coming your way today over on FS1 at 3:30 Eastern. The ranked Cyclones in action. Kansas, Texas Tech at 7. Concludes your evening with number 12 Utah taking on Cal. That one at 10 Eastern. Rob Brady, Matt Irvin back here with you. Well, this week it was Oklahoma overtaking LSU to become the number 1 ranked offense in the land. The Sooners in action today, but on the road at Kansas State, this one a little bit trickier than most expected. It played out the way we would assume early on. Jalen Hurts doing Jalen Hurts things, takes it in himself. You can't stop him with 8, 9, 10, 11 Wildcats, so Hurts makes it 10-0 later in the first. 10-7 game. Hurts again to keep our Sooners up by 10. But just moments ago, Skylar Thompson runs it in from 14. Yep, there it is. Wildcats with Joshua Youngblood pull within 3, and then here's Skylar Thompson from 14 yards out, and we may have an upset brewing in Manhattan.
So much for that Oklahoma defense, huh? That played really well last week, but giving up too many points to Kansas State in the first half.
Let's transition back to the Big Ten. Iowa on the road, ranked number 20 at Northwestern. Scoreless first quarter. Nate Stanley to Tyrone Tracy.
Don't forget, Iowa is not out of the Big Ten West. I know they surrendered a couple losses so far this season, but they could creep back up into this thing. There's a lot of tough matchups in the Big Ten West as we head on down into November.
Another look at that touchdown. Hawkeyes on top, 10-0 at the break. Illinois at Purdue. Matt, I know you had your eye on this one this week. This one airing over on Big Ten Network.
Yeah, I did. Illinois hadn't won back-to-back Big Ten games since 2014, but how about the defense right now stepping up and picking up that momentum where they left off in that big win against Wisconsin?
Defense travels, baby.
Pick 6 for Tony Adams. Coach, I told you this morning, App State is ranked, sitting there at number 21, taking on South Alabama.
App State, isn't that great for the lower level?
Oh, it's awesome.
Schools? It's great. They have very good players. You just wonder if they could hang on one of those Division I schedules.
Mississippi State, Texas A&M, Kellen Mond, rushing touchdown. Boom. So the Aggies extend their lead to 14-0, and more from Mond, this time through the air, a 19-yard strike. It is 28-7 Aggies with about $140 left. Big Noon Kickoff coming your way next Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern. J.D. Spielman and Nebraska on the road in West Lafayette, taking on Jake Plummer and Purdue. J.J. Watt. Yes, that is some good scouting by Mr. Watt. Chase Young is a very good football player. Some of the Wisconsin staff and players, coach, right behind us right now. What do you think the message was in that locker room on how they can get back into this game?
Oh, they're back in the game.
Yeah,
it's just they got to do something on offense, and I don't know what it is. I mean, you don't have a running quarterback. You have every defensive back at Ohio State is going to be in the NFL. Cephas has got to be the game changer. He's their best player. He's the guy that's already had a couple catches. I'm just trying to think. You're not going to get Jonathan Taylor free. You're not. Against that defense, with no threat of a quarterback run and very little threat of the pass, that's going to be a tough road in the second half.
It's where you have to start fabricating some things. Maybe special teams, if you trust those guys to execute a fake, something like that. You've got to start to maybe try to take some chances. Otherwise, I think Ohio State just keeps distancing
I think
itself.
only chance is Cephas. I'm just thinking about that. You don't have, they're going to be boxed in there, and you have to at least separate the game to one-on-one. That's Cephas against one of their Gakuda or Damon
That's not a good matchup.
And that's a 50-50 at best, but at least that's a chance to get the ball down the field.
It's that and Jake Ferguson, their tight end. They got to get him more involved. And listen, at the end of the day, they're 50-50. You got to throw some ball. I talked about it in the pregame for Jack Cohn. Take some shots one-on-one. You have nothing to lose at this point. You're still within striking distance. You can still try and establish the run game as hard as it's been and as hard as it will be. But Jack Cohn, hey, throw the ball up. Let our playmakers go try and make a play. Get some pass interference calls to move the sticks a little bit.
We saw Paul Chris go for it on 4th and 1 on his side of the field as well. I think he realizes a couple times I'm going to have to roll the dice here in Columbus.
10-0 is astronomically different than 3-0. That's a two-score game in this kind of environment. That's when they scored at the end of the first half. That was the game changer.
Brady, you're talking about special teams. How about the weapon Blake Hallbeal has developed into? Good from 49. Buckeyes up 10-0.
Tonight, the World Series continues. Astros, Nationals, Game 4. Tonight at 7:30 on Fox. Texas.
Sam Aniger.
TCU.
Strike first.
Next on Fox and the Fox Sports app.